Hello there, YouTubes. Now, as the title to this one would suggest, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about American politics. But quite frankly, if you're really interested in getting it accurately and all the rest of it, I'll left a link to Christy Winter's channel below. Go and check out her stuff. She's actually like a professional at this, and she knows what she's talking about, basically. But if you are interested in what I have to say on it, me, the dilettante hack, fucking um, chancer, basically just having a little poke around these issues, then by all means continue to watch. Because for me, yesterday being Wednesday, the 3rd of February 2016, was the most interesting day so far of the presidential primaries in America. And I'm going to assume you know what these terms mean. If you don't, you can always fucking Google them. The fact that you're watching this means that you have access to the largest repository of information in the history of our fucking species. So you can go and check those terms out. Yeah, anyway. And it might seem strange that I think it's the most interesting day because there wasn't actually a fucking vote taking place yesterday. So in that sense, nothing really changed. But actually, things did change, or signs of things changing took place. For me, on both sides, both on the Republican side and the Democratic side, we saw themes developing, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of that. But also, we saw how politics is beginning to change a little bit in the era of social media, because both of the stories I'm going to sort of take you through, or both of the themes I'm going to take you through, have to sort of have their origins in Twitter spats, which is a thing that politicians do nowadays. And that's how things are beginning to change, I think, because in, it seems sort of slightly unseemly for an office as grand and as high as the US president that you have them bickering on Twitter. That seems strange and fucked up. But in a few years, that will just be taken for granted. People will just be like, "Oh, presidential nominees are slagging each other up on Twitter." Well, of course they are. That's what politicians do, you know. So I think that's been quite interesting, um, and the fact that I think politicians are going to have to try and get a better grip of how they deal with Twitter and stuff because frankly, some of them have really let themselves down. Or maybe they won't. Maybe this is what it's going to become. The ultimate political theatre of people responding in real time to bullshit. You know. But I don't know. Anyway, on the Republican side, um, the spat was about. Well, it involves four of them for me. Right, there's Ben Carson, right, who is, if you remember, is the I don't want to say token black guy, but that's basically what he is. On the ticket for or on the ballot for a Republican president, who said that the pyramids were grain storage fucking device. Anyway, right, he's a mental case. Anyway, he did really badly in Iowa and did the really ridiculous rookie thing of instead of going to New Hampshire for the second vote, went to Florida supposedly to get a change of clothes. Like, is that the dumbest thing you've ever heard from a political candidate? I don't know. And so the Ted Cruz campaign, who won, Carson came fourth, Rubio came third, uh, Trump came second, and Cruz came first. So Ted Cruz, who came first, before the vote, was involved in some incredibly nefarious antics, including putting out letters claiming things that weren't true, and then hinting that Carson was going to pull out the race even though he wasn't. Basically, telling the kind of lies that, as an evangelical, crazy, mad Christian bastard, dominionist, fucking idiot, Mr. Cruz, I think it's worth me telling you that those kind of lies would definitely make the baby Jesus cry. But anyway. And they bordered on sort of essentially election fraud, really. And Donald Trump went crazy about this and called him out on Twitter and said that the Iowa vote should be redone. They should completely do the caucuses again, not like recount them, actually fucking go through the process again, which isn't going to happen. But very, very little doubt about that. Well, yeah, so they had this back and forth on Twitter, and there was nonsense going about the place. But for me, what all of this boils down to is putting paid to the bullshit that exists across most of the Western world, it has to be said, that you don't want to be seen as the insider candidate. You don't want to be seen as like the establishment figure. You want to be the outsider, the rogue, the rebel, the renegade. And that's just not fucking true. Okay. In democracies, you get the politicians you deserve because you get the politicians that you fucking vote for. And overwhelmingly, the art of politics works. You know, political science might not be 100% perfect 100% of the time, but it fucking works. And you saw that in Iowa. That you had the two actually established, battle-hardened, election-winning politicians in Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio doing comparatively where people expected them to get to, did very, very well, had very good nights. And the two outsider, rogue, rebel, renegade characters in Ben Carson and Donald Trump did very badly compared to where they were expected to get to. Especially Donald Trump. Look, he's not out of it. Look, he came second, so he's not completely out of it. But again, he made another rookie mistake, really. Instead of going to New Hampshire, he went, because he knows he's not really going to win there, he went to South Carolina, which is the third of the vote. Which is, on paper, it sort of makes sense because he knows he's not going to win in New Hampshire. So he's going to a place where he knows he can win, or certainly thinks he can win. But it's not the sign of a healthy, well-run campaign. I think what Hillary Clinton's doing, she's going to New Hampshire, even though she can't win there. I mean, she's like 19, 20 points behind. But the point is, with Trump, you've not won in Iowa and you were expected to. If you don't go and campaign in New Hampshire, you're going to lose in New Hampshire very badly. All of a sudden, that starts to become a trend, and people start to lose faith in you. Once that aura of, oh, he's involved in like a political revolution, and he's actually got a real chance of changing things and shaking things up in Washington and in the establishment of the GOP. Once that's gone, he's got nothing because he's got no substance to him. He's got no. What are his policies? What does he stand for? What is he? Nobody knows, and frankly, at this point, it seems that nobody really cares. But he's got nothing else but the kind of bluster. And once that's gone, once the aura of, oh, he's a winner, he's blah blah blah. Once that's gone, he's got nothing. He's going to be a hole below the waterline and going to sink into the entirely well-deserved political obscurity, which is where he fucking belongs. But anyway, so like I said, you've seen the two actual fucking politicians doing very well. Cruz won and Rubio did much better than expected. A lot of people, the fact that he came third is no massive surprise. The fact that he did so well, he really wasn't that far behind Trump at all. I think shows that actually politicians are the way they are because people vote for that shit. And Donald Trump admitted basically as much when he came afterwards and said that he should have spent more money on a ground game, which is the actual getting out there and the really basic entry level. Like this is what should be worrying for the Trump people. That's like basic entry level 101, electioneering 101 stuff. Getting out the fucking vote. That's what wins elections, not this bluster and bluff. Like I heard one incredible statistic. I think it was one in every $15 spent by the Trump campaign in Iowa was on hats. Those Make America Great Again hats, which, by the way, are made in China, which is part of the fucking problem, Trump, you fucking idiot. Anyway, I think it was one in $15 spent was on those hats, which is fucking crazy. And he admitted that he should have spent more money on the ground game, which is what actually wins elections. And the fact that he also came out and said he didn't know what a ground game even was. That's ridiculous. But okay, look, you say, okay, he is an outsider. So, but this leads to two incredibly unedifying possibilities for the Trump people, Trump supporters, right? Either he's got political staff that are so ridiculously unaware of how to run election campaigns that they didn't spend anywhere near the sufficient amount of time and money on the ground game in Iowa. Which I don't think is likely. He spent a lot of money. And not just that, but he spent a lot of money on people that have run campaigns in the past, so presumably they do know this, which ultimately means, I think, the second option is true, that you've essentially got a kind of emperor's new clothes type situation happening in the Trump camp, where they're too fucking scared to go up to him and say, look, this isn't the way this should be going. We need to spend far more money in this area and on this sort of thing and less on this fucking nonsense about hats and stuff. which is understandable to a degree because Trump's a forceful character, a very rich man, and when he's paying you, it can be easy to sort of skate by and just do, the bare minimum, whatever. But if you believe in that campaign and you're actually trying to run the campaign for the best of the Donald Trump campaign, you should have the bollocks to go up and say, no, this is wrong. We need to do this. And it doesn't seem that the people in the Trump camp are able to do that. Because essentially, I think what he's done, and it's again, it's understandable given his character. He's seemingly spent a lot of money on a lot of yes men. But anyway, so that's very worrying for his campaign. And I think we're starting to see now that ultimate truth of that battle-hardened politicians actually work in elections, and that these outsider fucking idiots don't. Anyway, quick note on the Democratic side. There was a CNN town hall style thing on last night in New Hampshire, and it was great. It was great to see. The moderator was Anderson Cooper, and when Bernie Sanders came out at the beginning, it was like the two most white-haired people in the world. Not grey hair, white-haired people. It was amazing. They were looking like a white hair off or something. It was amazing. It was, well, the end of it, it felt like I had fucking snow blindness. There was that much white going on. Anyway, but on a serious note, what happened on Twitter beforehand, and it was brought up with each of the candidates because they don't appear on stage at the same time during a town hall. What happened was on Twitter, and then it was brought up with each of the individual candidates, was this idea that Sanders had put out on Twitter about Hillary Clinton not being a progressive. And for me, it crystallizes what I find so annoying about the Sanders campaign. A lot of the hardcore Sanders supporters, not all of them, a lot of the Sanders supporters I know that are fucking brilliant people. Okay, so I'm not going to go crazy on them. In fact, I've got a lot of respect for them, and I like Sanders, and I like his politics, and I like him and his politics way more than Clinton. But I'm beginning to sway towards Clinton. Not that it really matters because they don't have a vote, but just in general. Because of this one idea. It sums up, it crystallizes the arrogance of a lot of them, that they've set themselves up as the arbiter of what a progressive is. And that unless they're doing this purity test bullshit, which I've seen a lot in the kind of social justice community, for want of a better phrase, here on the internet as well, where unless you agree with them 100% on everything, you're not a progressive. But as was pointed out afterward in the kind of the breakdown after with the political experts on CNN, by the standards of those people, Bernie Sanders isn't a progressive either because of his voting on gun rights and stuff, which have been incredibly supportive of right-wingedness basically. But in American politics, you sort of let that go because it's America and the gun issue is different there. But it means that, if you're going to do purity test stuff, he's not a fucking progressive either. But it's the idea that these people can set themselves up as the arbiters. I forget the exact phrase that Clinton used in the debate. The gatekeeper, I think she said. Sanders has set himself up as the gatekeeper. But these people have set themselves up as the kind of arbiter of what a progressive is. And that's fucked up, okay? You don't own the phrase, you don't own the movement, or you don't own that political space. And the arrogance that you think you could do that or that you should do that is fucked up. Stop that, okay? Because I think you're going to push a lot of people away with that nonsense. And there's, as I've discussed previously, there's a touch of there's certainly a feel of that kind of the cultishness of the Ron Paul supporters amongst a lot of the hardcore Bernie supporters that's really putting me off. And it's nothing to do with him or his policies or his politics, because I like them a lot, but I find it difficult to get behind him because of this fucking purity test nonsense. So cut it the fuck out. Anyway, I thought I'd bring you some thoughts there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, don't shout and scream at me because you think I'm some sort of Hillary maniac or that I hate Bernie or whatever. Frankly, whoever comes out of it, I hope they destroy whatever fucking piece of shit comes out from the Republican side. But anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. I've been Kurt Logan and I approve this message. Pip, pip.